But what are your thoughts on some of the big stories making headlines today? Are you, in fact, compelled by the dialogue on the calls for a new system of government in the country, which is causing many to do a double take, and many wondering whether it will sail through the National Assembly, which was also considering that subject matter sometime during the middle of the year as well. So let's have your thoughts coming through this morning as Jeffrey joins me to look at some other big stories that you've been talking about. Hello again, Jeffrey.
Yes, Bukola. So let's get straight to the business of what the people are talking about. And the very first has to do from what's been going on right here in Lagos, Nigeria. And that is about a truck accident that claimed about 3 lives. And we've talked about this time and again. So that's the location of this particular truck accident. And the rescue people, the rescue services, whether fire service, emergency service, all trying to do their bit to get this out of the way as soon as possible. So we try to capture some of these things just to reiterate the fact that we all have to be careful around some of these articulated vehicles. When you drive safe. Because sometimes it's also the fact that brakes fail. Sometimes they are high on something that we don't understand. It could be 1,001 reasons. Sometimes I drive and I see the speed with which these guys who drive these very heavy vehicles drive. I can't even speed that far, go that fast. So we understand this was a brake failure somewhere in Lagos. And so you just be careful out there. Just be careful out there. Use all your mirrors. Use all your mirrors.
With the sector commander of the Road Safety Corps in Lagos, he spoke about an app that you can download and deploy the tools therein to make a report about real-time report now. If you took a picture about such vehicles that do not comply with road safety rules, so you can go ahead and take full advantage of that. And on my way down to work this morning, there was also so many incidents like this. Some may not go reported; they'll go unreported. There was a vehicle that an articulated vehicle that had overturned and was on fire on the road.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Should have taken pictures and brought it to us. So basically, when you're driving along the road, use all your mirrors, your rear, your side mirrors, everything, because you may be looking forward, try and once in a while look behind and see what's coming behind you in case the vehicle fails. But this is what you're saying. Shaki Baba says, may the soul of the departed rest in peace. The descent from Italpo to Ayetoro is steep. Please erect a permanent beam barricade just after the traffic light to prevent trucks from passing through that particular route.
And Peaky Blinders said, until trucks restricted from operating during daytime hours to reduce congestion and enhance safety, this won't stop. Peaky continues by saying, additionally, drivers who exceed speed limits should receive automatic fines via debit alerts, eliminating the need for agency pursuit as it is being done abroad.
All right, Bolaji says, my heart goes out to those involved in this accident. May Almighty Allah be with them and their loved ones. Accept my condolence.
And Spectacular is the last user, and they say, Kai. That's an exclamation, by the way. Trailers should be banned from the road in the day anywhere around the metropolis. We can't say this enough. They are a menace to Nigerian roads.
Government has spoken. I think it's just implementation that is just left in all of this for it to happen. So let's get to that issue of petrol landing costs dropping by about 20% as NLC accuses the marketers of price inflation. Everybody, at the end of the day, leave the grammar. Because what we want to see is more affordable PMS. Until it gets there, all of this is irrelevant. So let's see how this trickles down to all of us who are consumers of this PMS. Because some of us are spending 1, 2, 3, maybe 400, 500% of what we used to spend before to buy PMS
on petrol
for our vehicles. Okay, so first child of Northern Nigeria, I can't read all your comments, but I'll just read the first paragraph so we can take others as well. The drop in petrol landing cost by 20.34% indicates a significant decrease in at the expense of importing fuel, which could potentially lead to reduced fuel prices for consumers if reflected in the retail market. Well, you have the next one.
Kamaria Road says, landing cost is dropping, yet pump prices remain the same. Those defending fuel importation can now see that it is even more difficult to regulate for fair prices via importation versus local refiners.
Because what they were trying to say, because I guess, was that they told us that when the crude price goes up in the international market, we should expect a rise in the prices of PMS consequentially. And when it comes down, we should also expect it to come down. And it's moderating around the lower band as far as our benchmark is concerned. How is that reflecting in the pump of PMS for us?
Yeah, and they should provide an explanation as to why the pump price of PMS doesn't come down when the landing cost comes down on the international market, and when the price of crude oil comes down in the international market, because we see that in other countries, when these things happen, what follows is a reduction in the pump price of petrol.
Sometimes it's really to explain things in Nigeria, I'm telling you. Camara says, landing cost is dropping. Okay, Bukola, you read that one. Oluwafemi says everyone will do what's best for them. They're all businessmen. It's not on the government to protect her citizens. It's on the government rather to protect her citizens and not serve them to the wolves.
Valid point there. And Leo has just a few lines, and he says, fuel shouldn't be sold for more than 600 to 800 naira per liter max.
That is the prayer. So, if two things has to happen for fuel to come down even to 200 naira. Two things. The first that has to happen is if a naira is strengthened. As soon as the dollar, if naira to dollar goes to as low as 700, we'll buy fuel for as low as 300, 200. Trust me, because that's the cocoa, according to what we say it in Nigeria. That's the beginning. Before we even argue about landing cost or landing cost, exchange rate is a big issue. But let's go on to other issues where the Kwara State government, we understand, says that no November salary or bonus without residency, a number, that is the workers in Kwara State, the government is saying if you don't have an identifiable residency, a place where you call your home that they can track you to, you're not going to get salaries. We don't know when this started.
And this should apply to, I believe, state civil service workers and
yes,
workers at
service.
The local government in Kwara State.
Yes,
so
public servants.
Let us know what you think about this. Perhaps you are a local government employee or you work in the state civil service.
In Kwara State.
So what are your thoughts on this? You can also plead anonymity as you write us, because we understand how these things work. But who's the first user on this particular talking point this morning? It's C Vibes, who says, Kwara workers, residency number, now your ticket to November pay and bonus. So that's like a warning. So go get registered.
All right, so for the next one, finance nomad, I guess that will help curb perceived rumor of ghost workers in the state civil service. And
Dennis says, lol, laugh out loud, no valid resident registration, no November paycheck. Kwara State isn't playing games. Get the paperwork in order or kiss that salary goodbye.
Judo Graphics says, this is good. It will aid the security system of the state. Everyone needs to have a registered address with recognized link to the state.
And Smiling George is the last user this morning, and on this one rather. Some of these governors are funny. Did you tell them to stay off work until they get residency number? Now, you reach salary, they speak grammar. Well, and he continues by saying quite a lot. That's an angry writer this morning.
Yeah, so let's get to the issue of cement, because I said that we can race against that. Cement prices hit 8,000 naira as cost of building materials skyrockets in Nigeria, rather, skyrockets in Nigeria. So people have been talking about this. So cost of production. Part of what we're dealing with is that type of inflation that is necessitated by the elements of production, whether it's demand or cost push. So this one, cost of production perhaps is responsible for this. What can the government
cost
do?
of diesel is at the heart of this,
it's all factored in.
Yeah, and it's part of what IPMAN and Dangote have reached an agreement on for direct lifting.
Yes, PMS.
But what is the
diesel,
cost?
DPK, right?
Yeah, what is the cost of the purchase of diesel per liter for manufacturers? We've had an interaction with manufacturers on this particular one sometime earlier on in the year, and the reduction, according to them, is insignificant to impact sufficiently on their cost of operations, such that cost of these products can come down. So again, the relevant ministries have their work cut out for them on this particular one, for continuous engagement, for introduction of policies that will make a conducive environment for manufacturers to thrive.
Okay, this is, let's go to Supreme Clerk. Let's go straight to Supreme Clerk. The surge, that's what Supreme Clerk is saying. The surge in cement prices to 8,800 is a crisis affecting every Nigerian. High cost in building materials. Yes, I wanted to read from here. Make housing unaffordable. Installs critical infrastructure project. The government must urgently regulate prices, encourage local production, and reduce import tariffs. Affordable housing is a right, not a luxury.
Absolutely. And Ajibare is the next user. Ajibare is brief, and they say, this is not looking good for our generation that is planning to start building. I like that.
Oh boy. Okonlawon. Okay, those landlords that built their houses during the Shagari regime will also increase rent. Some even built during what do you call it? Nnamdi Azikiwe regime.
Well, let's go to the last user this morning, who is Oyema, who says, when shall it come down? Is there any policy or subsidy put in place to bring the price down? Yeah, that's the question we're all asking.
That's a big question, yes. So, should we be subsidizing production rather than consumption? Or I don't know. Okay, IPMAN Dangote Region Agreement. We've talked about this time and again. I've been on this issue for months. This disagreement between IPMAN and Dangote. They seem to have finally found a landing point, and they've agreed according to the report we're getting. So we're going to talk to a couple of people as well. That has to do with the agreement to lift PMS, DPK, and diesel directly from the refinery. No more middleman, no more buying from NMPCL or the depot and then add their margin. So, but we don't know how much Dangote is going to be selling from them. Selling for them, the wholesale, because Dangote will sell wholesale, they will now do retail to all of us. So,
the president of IPMAN is assuring that it will guarantee lower rates. So that's a question we should be asking them.
I don't like things that sound like political statements.
Maybe it's just what we want to hear.
What is lower rates? If I buy for 1,024 and the lower rate is 1,000, what is lower about that?
What is lower? Okay, if it comes down to 900, is it lower?
If it's 1,024 naira at that rate, or at that price, and it comes down to 800, that's quite significant.
That's significant.
But if it comes down 124, 1024, and it comes down to 1,000, okay? Calm down. That's not what we're looking for. But I believe this agreement represents a significant shift in Nigeria's oil sector, signaling a move towards localized, I like to read from here always, efficient and posterity, more effective, cost-effective distribution of petroleum products. Now, a good move towards both economic and strategic independence in the energy industry. However, the true impact will depend on what? The effectiveness and management of this partnership over time.
And Idris is the next writer. Idris has a profound one. He says, enough of the back and forth, Dangote, Oil and IPMAN. It's clear the poor citizens of this country are being affected by these delays. If you truly want to make fuel accessible and affordable for the masses, then take action. Let's see real commitment, not just empty promises. So we understand that this is a disillusioned writer, but let's hope that indeed this time around, the assurance provided by IPMAN that an agreement has been reached will be implemented in the coming days. But well, if you ask me, I'm not so excited about that promise of lower rates until we see what lower rates
Let's take really the last two persons, because as quickly as we can, we understand what's still at the time. Johnson says, what is a price agreement? Anything more than 700 naira per litre is a sham agreement.
I agree. And Khan is the last user. Khan says, great news for consumers. Direct petrol supply from Dangote to IPMAN is a positive step. But what would be more positive is a reduction in price and a guarantee of energy security such that there will be no more importation. And if there will be importation, if it will guarantee a reduction in price, well, who would argue against that? But we'll be exploring all of those concerns, you know, sometime during the program. But after this time out, we're looking at that thorny issue of derivation formula for VAT distribution, which has divided the National Assembly. Which side are you on? Perhaps you shouldn't take any side until you read the components of that bill. That's our first talking point. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.